And welcome back everyone to Macro Crypto. It's your host, Shane Mack. We got a banger of a video for you today. We're going to be giving you our top 5 macro picks for the next 5 to 10 years. Which cryptocurrencies that are in today's market are going to help create the most wealth for you in the future. We're going to be taking a little bit of dive into each of them, explaining to you why we're choosing them and why that might be a best decision for you to look into adding to your portfolio or starting to build your portfolio out. Of course, we'll also share you our portfolio, where we currently stand, explaining my decisions, and then on a weekly basis, sharing that same portfolio so you can see it adapt and change in real time as I'm changing my portfolio based off of how I'm reacting to the market, just to give you some perspective on the way I'm thinking, and also to give you an idea of, hey, I'm practicing what I preach. So let's dive into it. We got a little BTC Heiken Ashy candles, what we love to start with, because we're going to keep watching this to make sure once this green candle comes about one day or another, one of these weeks, it will show its head. And that's where we can start to believe that the trend is going bullish. So right now, as you know, we are in a very downtrend. So we're not seeing any great candles that are giving us any indication that we might get in a flip, but let's see how this week turns out, and then following into next week and where we start to trend. You will see it live here on a weekly basis when that finally does happen. So let's dive in. We're going to go right into our portfolio, give you a little idea of how I break it down for myself. And like you can see, Ether rules my portfolio. I'm highly invested both in Bitcoin and Ether. Typically, my Bitcoin to Ether ratio is a little more closely aligned to one another. But just in this short term right now, I'm more bullish on Ether, that I'm allocating a little bit more of my portfolio towards that than with Bitcoin. But I'm still obviously have 16% of my portfolio into Bitcoin, which I tend to believe that down the line I will be transferring some of that Ether back into Bitcoin, because as you can tell with my portfolio, what I want to see primarily is about 80% allocation between Bitcoin and Ether right now. I don't want to go below that threshold, and I want to stay above that. Now, if I get into more, it's just because I believe in those two assets more than anything moving forward 5, 10, 15 years down the line. Even with this year, you might see other cryptocurrencies outperform it in a short term, but long term, that's what we're worried about. That's what we're trying to get our, allocating our money towards, is that long-term wealth. We're not, here just to take chances and gamble away our, life savings here on other assets that, might go up or that can go to zero. So we, practice what we preach, big believers in Bitcoin and Ether, and we'll go over why. Also, as you can see, Polkadot is our third largest holding. A little explanation into why there's so much mana in my portfolio. It was actually at a small allocation of 0.5%. And as you well knew, at the end of 2021, they had a huge run up on the metaverse. And my mana was actually locked currently in a different protocol that's earning me some rewards. And so I can't kind of trim off the top until that's unlocked later this year, which if mana is anywhere near where it's at or above it, you better believe I will be doing that and reallocating back into Bitcoin and Ether. But I'll also give you an idea of maybe that mana turns into some plots of land within Decentraland, and kind of give you a little rundown, maybe a video on that as well down the line. But currently right now, mana is my 4th largest holding. Surprise, surprise. And then we got Olympus, Chainlink, Kusama, the wild child of Polkadot. And in regards to Kusama, it's actually, I do not own any Kusama currently within my portfolio. Actually, all my Kusama is allocated on a specific NFT that's on their chain, which we will have a video solely about this in the future. So not dropping any other hints besides that, and I'll show you which ones are allocated. And based off their floor price and how many I have, I probably have more Kusama than what I am giving myself credit for, because I probably could sell them for more than the floor. But that's just based off of, if I sold everything right below floor, how much I would roughly have And that's where that percentage is at currently. And then also you'll see between small caps and Kusama in that orange is actually our Klima, which we will be going over today as a wild card pick. And the small caps is anything and everything that's 2% of the portfolio. It's a long shot, moonshot, hoping, getting a big bag kind of allocation. But as you can tell, our Bitcoin and Ether rule it all. Right at 81% of our portfolio is made up of the king of, of the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and of course, Prince Ether himself. That's what we're rolling with. So let's dive into those top 5 picks. And what better way to start off than the king of crypto, Bitcoin, of course. You knew where it was going. You knew where it was headed. And this is because even though I'm allocating more of my resources for Ether currently than I am Bitcoin, Bitcoin's still the most dominant choice for the long term. We're talking 5 to 10 years from now. Bitcoin is something different to everybody. I just tweeted this out yesterday. Bitcoin has this stigma around that it's new digital gold. I believe, and I've heard others very similar mindset, that is the Trojan horse of our generation, that everyone believes that it's just this digital gold, where really it's a secret inside. Bitcoin has something special up its sleeve. It's going to be more than what we view it as today, because Bitcoin is something different to everybody. Bitcoin is a way for electricity to become valuable in a region that it never was possible. Bitcoin is digital gold to some investors. Bitcoin is also a currency, a peer-to-peer exchange, a means to get out of a corrupt government. Bitcoin is so decentralized and no one controls it. No one even knows the creator. And no one has the resources to ever become the owner of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is fully decentralized and always will be that way. So it is the safest bet long-term, 5, 10, 15 years from now. You want to have as much Bitcoin as you can possibly put into your portfolio. It should be one of the biggest parts of the base in your portfolio. And one of the reasons why we're going over so many different things on Bitcoin, we'll touch on them, on a week after week basis, different videos. We'll have Bitcoin as our homage because Bitcoin, I cannot stop talking about it enough. It should be one of your base aspects on your portfolio. So we're going to dive into one of the things that I am very excited about, and that's Lightning Network. So I was recently listening to another podcast, and they gave a great synopsis of how Lightning Network and why it's so valuable. Outside of all the things that it can do, because, there are ideas that it could become, more of a smart contract layer 2 to Bitcoin. But the easier way to understand the Lightning Network is, okay, if Bitcoin is viewed as this digital gold for some investors per se. And if that's truly the idea behind what Bitcoin is to them, the Lightning Network allows them to become almost, okay, this is the note that, hey, Bitcoin's digital gold, then this is the note that backs that up, and I can exchange that like nothing. And I can always turn this note in for some layer 1 Bitcoin. So the Lightning Network is just exchanging all these notes, but they are entirely backed by Bitcoin. So that way there is a full trust, just like how the gold standard used to be with the dollar note until that was taken off. The Lightning Network is based off of the 21 million Bitcoin that will be in existence, currently at 18, but that will never go unchanged. So you'll know exactly that your note on the Lightning Network is backed by the Bitcoin on layer 1. So there's just so much excitement behind the Lightning Network because the fees will just be obsolete, next to nothing, if nothing. There's a little bit of debate on how low those can get, if they can get to nothing or not. But at least you'll have an idea that the Lightning Network itself will create payments for people around the world, allow peer-to-peer exchanges like that, increase remittances for countries that are trying to pass from somebody in the United States is sending money down into South America and they're transferring it and they can give it to that person that day. They don't have to go through Wells Fargo or they don't have to go through any other company and then pay middlemen along the way. So that's a part of the reason why Bitcoin is such a strong play for me. Let's go ahead, dive into number 2 before I just get too excited about it. And that, of course, is Ether. Ether is the oil to the Ethereum network. Ether is what you would purchase. Currently, right now, what you'll notice is with Ether, it is playing a game with Bitcoin back and forth. And the reason why I tend to look at Ether in a way a little bit more valuable for the medium term in comparison to Bitcoin is just because of the value Ether is at in comparison to Bitcoin. And I think it's at 0.075 currently right now, which at its all-time high, 1 Ether was at approximately 0.15 Bitcoin. Now, we want to see back into that spot, down the line, where I will then convert back into some of that Ether back into Bitcoin to gain a little bit extra, of course, but Ether's your second biggest play long-term here. It's not as safe a bet because it hasn't been around as long, in my opinion, but it's building a network that is massive. It's different than what Bitcoin is. It's building the Web 3.0. It's what is driving is decentralized finance, non-fungible tokens, the NFTs that we all love. It's on the Ethereum network. They're building DAOs. People are building DAOs that then create the NFTs that are trying to buy, golf courses and all these different things. And it's wild what, the Ethereum network has already given us in the last 7 years. What else is this Web 3.0 going to derive, and how this decentralization is going to change the world for us and the way we think and how we interact with one another and how we interact with finances in general. And so Ether is the way that keeps that machine running. So Ether is the oil of the Ethereum network. I'll say it again on that. And this is why it's such a strong play, is also based off of it's just banking for everyone. And me and you might have, access to banks or a secured government that we believe that our money's backed by something that we can count on and be valuable. But there's a lot of individuals around the world that don't have that. Ether, it gives them, it's more and more where, hey, this can also be a peer-to-peer network because no one knows what Ether also can become. Can it also be a stable asset for individuals to, put their wealth into and have belief that it's going to increase over time, which I 100% do, or else I wouldn't be here. So you'll notice off the ethereum.org channel as well, they talk about, just the peer-to-peer network and how much all these different factors play into Ether. And what we'll also go into is staking as well, because as Ether had a very similar type of network as Bitcoin with proof of work, it is going into the proof of stake, where you're able to stake your Ether, which secures the network, and then you get rewards on top, which we'll have a separate video on that as well. And that way you're also able to buy Ether, stake it, earn interest on your Ether that you're currently staking, as well as garnering the future wealth that Ether is going to increase over time. We talked about Bitcoin being at the cap at 21 million, and it currently had 18. So Bitcoin's price is only going to increase because the scarcity of it is going to go down. Well, ETH currently just passed a new framework onto their ecosystem that potentially Ether might be a deflationary crypto, where currently at the state right now, there's certain days that it does have a deflationary aspect to it, where there's less Ether that day than was created. So can that happen on a continuous basis? That's yet to be found out, but we will find that out in the future, how consistently that can happen. And if that is the case, then you're earning Ether at a higher rate than Ether is being minted, which is always a bonus for something that you want to create wealth for yourself in the long term. So we'll go have a separate staking video, give you a little deeper dive into that as well. Can't really give you a huge in-depth look right now because we got some more cryptos to go over. Let's dive into our third choice, which is Polkadot. Polkadot is a creation from actually the idea of Ether, it started with its proof of stake already. It's got like 12% on the staking rewards that we just talked about with Ether. Ether, I think, is like 5 to 7, but Polkadot is somewhere about inflation, about 5%. So you're still getting more than that, but that amount of Polkadot does change over time. So we'd have to have a separate video diving into that as well. But still 12% rewards on the Polkadot ecosystem. You can lock your Polkadot up on some other exchanges, but also off-chain to earn that. We'll have a separate video all into that. Where this all started was actually Gavin Woods himself was one of the co-creators and co-founders of Ethereum, along with Vitalik Buterin. And he left Ethereum and created Polkadot. And how Polkadot is a little bit different than what Ethereum is they use what's called parachains, and they use Kusama, like we were talking about earlier, as the wild child, where anyone will be able to create off of the Kusama network. Because unlike Ethereum, anybody and everybody can go onto Ethereum, create a dApp that will be living on the Ethereum network, and that's kind of the idea of why it got so congested, or currently why gas fees are so high on Ethereum. Polkadot, what they're doing is solving that is through also the interoperability aspect of it, being able to bridge other blockchains with it. How they're also solving the gas issue is creating a parachain where if people are actually using the Polkadot ecosystem and using the dApps that are on there, those will stay on there. That's what this bonding aspect is. So anything that's outdated, not useful anymore, gets taken off. Anything that's being widely considered as something that's valuable from the Kusama network will then go live on Polkadot based off bonding from DOT tokens itself, people basically voting what they want on the Polkadot parachains. And then, like I mentioned, it's staking, the governance side of it for DOT holders, being a part of the ecosystem. All three of these are blockchains. They're ecosystems. You're building stuff on top of it. So why not be on the on the bottom floor, building up on something that's going to have growth within it and owning the asset that is creating? So that makes sense. I don't even know if it really does if I said creating. But regardless, I hope you get my point. But here we go, diving into our fourth choice is Chainlink, which Chainlink has their hand in the cookie jar for every single project. It feels like you talk about Polkadot, Chainlink's on it. Ethereum, Chainlink's there. Talk about NFTs, Chainlink. DeFi, Chainlink. Chainlink is in gaming. Chainlink is just an oracle that brings real life data onto the blockchain so that everything can be verified, so that you know it's secure, it's real, gives you real time data, and that you can trust it. So big corporations are actually running Chainlink nodes, and they get paid for this. So that way the Chainlink source is getting viable data feeds. And what you'll notice is teams like Amazon Web Services, the Associated Press are using Chainlink. Also within the DeFi protocols, look at all the protocols, whether it's pool together, lottery system, all Aave, Compound, you got 1inch, you got all these different DeFi protocols that use Chainlink to verify the transactions, to verify price points, data, you name it. Chainlink's doing it. Even into the NFT and gaming applications, you got Axie Infinity, Bored Ape Yacht Club, like I mentioned already, pool together. Chainlink's there. I mean, if this doesn't get you hyped for something that's long term, that's gonna be around this past year, if you're a holder of Chainlink, I'm sorry, because it bled against everything. But we're not talking about last year. You can't be discouraged off of Chainlink because of 1 year, because the prior 2 or 3 years, it just had crazy success, and then it had a flat line in 2021. 2022 is a new year, and remember, this is a long-term pick here. This is macro outlook, and Chainlink is going to be here to stay, and it's helping all the protocols get their data feeds. It's the leading innovator in the Oracle space. And then number 5, we do have a rebase token that is taking a hit. So it is a great time if you want to dive into it. If you got the resources, that's Olympus DAO. Olympus, their token, Ohm. Okay, this is basically, I'm picking this out for 5 to 10 years as more of a crazy outlook potential pick based off of the idea that they're trying to become a stable asset that isn't back 1-to-1 to the dollar. They have a pool of assets that backs the Olympus DAO. And then you get based every 8 hours, you get rebase tokens because of that. Now, what's going to happen is currently what you're going to notice is the current APY is ridiculous, just under 4,000%. If you think it's ridiculous, that's because it is, okay? They're attracting investors, people that go stake on there, and you're going to get rewarded more OHM. And then you can convert that staked OHM into governance, GOHM, their governance token, to then vote on protocols down the future and what they're going to do. The things that they're building on Olympus are like Olympus Pro, or they're also building a metaverse that's going to have a Rome aspect and outlook to it. And they're going to be dropping NFTs soon here. You've got so much thing with Olympus. It's growing fast. It's been here since May. And what you also want to know, and just full transparency, they will be dropping their APY to 1,000%. Still ridiculous, but understand that that drop is only going to be more healthy for the price. So right now you do have that price point of about $213. Might be a good time to buy. This is not financial advice whatsoever. Just throwing it out there. And our last pick, not even in our top 5, we're just throwing out there a wild card pick just because I love the shit out of this project. Can I say that on YouTube? I don't know, but we did. We'll find out very quickly. But I love this project, and that's Clima. It got birthed from Olympus, basically. So you might be getting on this rebase train with me right now, but these are rebase tokens. It's got crazy, ridiculous APY, but this is based off the bond market for carbon bonds, okay? So if you are looking for a little bit of a nature nut and you want to save the world and you want to create a better, healthy life and save the trees, hey, Climb is for you, okay? These is to incentivize, basically build a carbon market within the crypto space. And this is going to be a carbon-backed asset that people and companies can use for their carbon offsets. So currently right now at $148, in my opinion, is a steal for the future. And right now you got a ridiculous 27,000%. Yeah, you heard that right. 27,000% APY. But a little bit of a hint, that's not what it's going to be in a couple weeks here, okay? You will be getting anywhere between 8 to 10% shortly, but that's only, again, just like OHM, in my opinion, is only going to drive the price up. So if you get in now with that price, you're going to be able to get a little bit extra incentives when you start staking it at that high, and it's going to be rebasing at every 8 hours. It rebases at that current APY, and it automatically continues staking for you. Just the other, currently right now I'm getting about 0.33 Clima every 8 hours. So I'm roughly almost getting 1 Clima per day. And it's just, I'm jazzed about it. So I just want to kind of give you an idea of what this is. I recommend going to their DAO, looking at their protocol, jumping into their Discord, listen to the AMAs so you can understand it further, but don't expect that 27,000 APY. That's what it's always going to be. No, that's just to incentivize people to come over to their platform, to utilize it. Their total value locked is currently higher than their market cap. So they have more money locked into the ecosystem than what their market cap is currently at. That doesn't tell you anything. I don't know what does. It's on the Polygon chain, so it's a little more difficult to get to there, which we can go over on a later channel. I do want to pinpoint at the end of this video, for safety reasons, on CoinGecko, utilize their links on there. Don't type anything into Google. It's going to give you, all these hackers, they buy ads on Google to make you click on the wrong source, and you link your MetaMask wallet onto there, and they steal funds. Just use CoinGecko. Use these to go to the website directly. It's going to bring you to the exact website that you're looking to go to. Also, if you're looking to use the contract address, so when you're buying or selling, you can also link it right to your MetaMask, but also copy the exact contract address for that specific token you're looking to get. If you're doing all this, you're keeping your funds safe. Over time, we will have safety videos down the line. But hey, I hope all this helps you out for our top 5 macro picks for the long term. I'm jacked up about all of this. I talked fast in this video, so I do apologize if I just kind of went and breezed over everything. But again, run down. It's Bitcoin, Ether, Polkadot, Chainlink, Olympus, and our wild card pick just to see if it survives, because it's going to help the planet. And it's got crazy APY right now. That's Klima on Polygon. If you need anything or if you have any questions, send me a DM on Twitter. That's at Macro Crypto Club. Also, like and subscribe, hit the bell notifications. Let's get this channel rolling. We got some crazy cool ideas that we're going to do on this channel to bring wealth for you as you build it into the crypto market. Again, Shane Mack, I'm signing off, everybody. Thank you for joining me.